So.
Yep, a few stragglers, which
So
will.
I think it's worth mentioning that the banners show up in packs. So good, I
Yep,
guess.
that matters a lot for draft. Like you can actually play like 3-color decks with real fixing. You can play the 2-color factions with real fixing.
Yeah,
It's very
that's a
it's
pretty
necessary.
substantial change from what it was before. Where if the best first 8 cards that you found were split between fire and time, you were gonna have a bad time at things.
Yeah,
Maybe not
like
as much with fire time because time has ways in it to fetch.
maybe like
Like
Justice
I don't know, like a
Primal when.
Justice Primal was pretty poor. But anyway, so that's nice.
Mhm.
First is Alluring Ember, which is a 1 power but double fire, double time influence requiring 1/1 with flying charge and warp.
I like it when the game plays around with the like influence costs higher than the cost of the card, like the Sand Warrior
Yeah,
style thing, because
that's pretty neat.
that's something that only this game does. You know, as far as like it's
And whenever you could warp this guy, he doesn't cost you all that much on the turn, which
right.
makes him
Not
really
a
good.
not a lot of effect unless you control some obelisks that make it a 5/5 or something for one.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that, but you know.
Yeah, it's not like there's a lot of team pump in this faction.
Nope, certainly not holding on to a rally.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think it's fine. You would never want to play this in draft, I don't think. Man, oh man.
no, I don't think. Again, the best place for this is a deck where you do have all this team pump, and that's going to be a lot harder.
Right.
Oh,
And moreover, I think that overall, this allows you to make your deck smaller. Like if you're just playing the Praxis Tokens deck, you can very easily squeeze this guy into a turn and draw an extra card that one turn, and it's so
yeah.
cheap that it may as well have been free. So your deck size essentially shrinks a little bit.
Oh,
And that's pretty good.
before I forget, I said it can only be done in this game, but my brain has brought at least 2 or 3 other card games that exist that do the influence versus
Right. I
power
mean,
mechanics.
Hex at the very least. I know that we've
Yes.
both played that.
Yes.
I tend not to think of it the same category of game. Like Hex was
Whew.
that was more or less Chandelar again. I didn't get to play against other people, and I had a ton of cards, and I just sort of got exhausted at that. And they didn't seem to have very consistent rules to what kind of power you could get out of what cost. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, Alluring Ember. It's tiny. If you're trying to build, and I don't believe that it's really correct to throw every warp card in a deck and go with it. This doesn't really fit in that because you want some sort of pump to go with this, like our next card.
Yeah. I wouldn't call this bad. I would call it fringe. Leave
Yeah.
it there. Next up is a Noble Firebane, which is a 2-costing 2/2 elemental beast in fire time. Pay 5 to give your units +1/+1 this turn. You can apparently repeat this process.
Yeah.
Jeez.
This is we'll be seeing that this is part of a cycle
Good
of
gravy.
non-ultimate abilities. So yeah,
I mean, it's no Seraph. God.
no nothing.
Seraph. Nothing is
Nothing is
Seraph.
Seraph.
Nothing should be Seraph. Seraph should not be Seraph.
No, Seraph shouldn't. Ugh.
Mad about Seraph. But here's Noble Firebane, and this is fine.
Yeah, team pump, decent body.
Yeah, something to do with a small guy who can have a late game effect. That's really rare in this game and really potent. So next up is Champion of Burning Shit. Oh my god. Can you really wear your hair like that when you set things on fire all the time? Come on.
Look how close that is. That's
It's like, oh my god, you're gonna get singed. But Champion of Impulse.
the impulse.
Yeah, that's impulsive. 3 power 2/2 fire time. Like all champions, has influence requirements for getting effects. What this is, 3 fire influence gets you, whenever this attacks, you get +1 power this turn, which is really awkward. And 3 time influence gets her +2/+2, which is more of a normal kind of thing.
Yeah, that's that first effect is the one that I'm just. So this was the card that was one of the like promo event cards. So a lot of people have had the chance to play with this one. It was in like an event where you just brought a Praxis deck and 4 of these got thrown in your deck.
Right.
Like it's ramp, but only if you're if you're going into combat with a 2/2 or 4/4, which might not be the best plan. And then you kind of have a payoff for it. That's it, like 3 costing 4/4.
Right. Now, one of the things I do like about this particular champion, I don't know if this is the same with all the champions we're going to see. I'm going to peek ahead a little bit. Maybe they did make the cycle that tight, but I don't think they actually did. No, they absolutely... Oh, they did. Oh. Wait.
Yes.
Wait, that always happens. Oh, okay. So it's always like 3 and then the, like, gate on the bottom is 3, like that kind of thing. Gate equal to power. Cha-Cha is that way. Arcanum Man is that way. Geez, who else is there? Felm Guy is that way. Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
So that's the cycle. So the gates are equal to the
cost.
to the power cost. Interesting. Well, anyway. So yeah, you can always, like... It's okay, not always, but it is possible to play this on time as a 4/4, which is nice.
Yeah, I get the feeling that the 4/4 is the slightly more relevant part. The power lets you like either play something like Copper Conduit or Flame Blast a little easier, or if you're just like, I don't know, warping spells, like I guess that's something you can do.
Yeah. I don't know, this seems a lot worse than a lot of the other champions, frankly.
Yeah.
That's about it. Still, like, fine, I guess.
I would say being one of the worst champions is not a bad place to be. It's the actual secret there.
Okay, next up is Journeyman Armorer, who's also Graveyard Art. 3 cost 2/2, the same cost as the chimp that we just had. This one has Warp, and someone play a +1/+1 weapon on another one of your units. I wonder if that's also the helmet. Does he
I'm
pass off
hovering.
spiked helmet?
Hovering doesn't show
It
that.
doesn't.
It's gotta be.
Which, I mean, it's supposed to, but, whatever.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like this guy is almost the champion I want instead. It is the helmet, okay.
It's very much like Granite Acolyte that handed off the sword, Iron Sword.
Yeah. It's like more health on the weapon, less attack on the weapon. Sometimes you'll draw an extra card. That's not bad. I would say like solid in faction. Like if you're in Praxis, then like you can do way worse.
Yeah.
Whereas as far as a card to pull me into Praxis, we have Purify.
Oh, Purify.
3 cost fast spell, 1 fire 1 time. Silence a unit and deal 3 damage to it.
I have been playing I've been playing Praxis and Constructed for the last like 3 days. And 4x Purify is kind of the glue that holds the deck together because it's this real removal spell. like if it doesn't kill it, it nullifies its effectiveness, and sometimes it kills it better than killing it, Umbran Reaper style. This is very solid. Common too, jeez.
Yeah. No, that's the nutty part.
Yeah.
More torches. You can have more torches now.
Yeah. Cannot go to the dome.
Oh, that's true. Deal. Yeah. Unit. Okay. So next up is Brilliant Discovery. 4 cost, 1 fire 1 time. It's a spell with warp and draw a fire sigil and a time sigil from your deck. This is very boring.
Yeah. I guess the idea is that this is a card for a deck that is just I'm playing 50 warp cards, and you warp this to get more power to pay for all your warping.
Yeah, it doesn't even ramp you though. That's really poor at 4.
At 4,
I feel like you would just want secret pages and not this, really.
or like find the way if you were actually wanted to find 2 sigils. Like,
Yeah,
I would recommend that card over this one.
I would
if you
hardly
wanted
call
to.
that brilliant.
Yeah.
Next, oh no. Next up is Clever Stranger. It's 4-cost 2/2 with 1 fire 1 time influence, and he has warp, and he says strangers have warp. So yeah. As far as playing like all warp cards, I think we found a way to do it.
You could. So you could fill your deck with as many 2/2s as you want. This is...
There's
this
a
is hard.
charge stranger. Like if you can actually,
Multi-ball.
God, you could do the stranger multi-ball. I can't wait to be demolished by that deck.
I have been doing some, as you know, Loon is mentioning some of the stranger stuff. There've been a number of people doing like builds with strangers. Like I've played against Ty's stranger deck a couple times. It's sort of real. This isn't one of the cards that does it, but like there are cards that make strangers more powerful than you would expect. This one's just a 4-costing 2/2 that, you know.
Have they made the stranger Aegis thing yet?
You'll see it.
Oh God.
That's the one that, when I say ones that have made it more stronger than you think, that's actually the one I'm talking about, because it's really hard to make.
Next up is what the hell is this?
Yeah!
Gioco Malaga, who's a 4-cost 2 fire 1 time influence 3/5 with charge and ultimate. Pay 8 to give Diogo and each unit in your deck double damage and charge.
Oh.
What the hell? And he is a guy with a huge electric guitar standing at the base of some kind of excavation pit ruins. What is this guy?
I don't know, but it's pretty incredible. If we somehow, I don't know how we do this, but if we ignored the art, that ultimate's incredible. Like, oh, what if your entire deck just gets charged double damage? Okay. Also, it gives Diogo double damage as well. Like, in play. So, like, okay,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Like,
Then
turning
you
him
have
into a
the art.
6/5 is decent.
Then you have the art on top of it, which is just like, oh, what the hell is going on here?
This
I
is
love it.
kind of a baffling card.
Yeah.
3/5 charge? Like,
An explorer? That's
he's an explorer? Yeah. What the heck?
Is
Like,
this person
2 fire 1 time? I'm always curious about the asymmetric influence costs.
Yeah. This has got to be like a level 20 bard.
I guess that's what happens. You know, you
Yeah.
can just rock out any place you want, man. Depths of a pit, fine.
Yeah, all right.
A
Very good.
preposterous person. Next up is Shatterglass Mage, a 5-cost 5/3, 1 fire 1 time, overwhelm and warp, and it has summon, kill an enemy attachment. Yo.
So this is closest compared to Furnace Mage.
Mm.
Like we have sort of a similar body.
Yeah, it still dies to torch, still has double influence requirements, kills an enemy attachment.
But the upside on this has made me like I wasn't convinced I was going to like this card. I've been playing with it and wasn't convinced I was going to like it because Furnace Mage is so just underwhelming for cost. Honestly, the 5th point of power is the biggest thing because it lets you trigger a lot of the 5 power things. Lets you.
Hey, it goes into that tribal overwhelm deck that we were talking about.
Oh, I played against that deck. It's scary as hell.
Oh my god.
Like,
I kind of want to make tribal overwhelm. It seems
it's
so
scary.
stupid.
They played a Divining Rod on a Pyro Knight when Pyro Knight was the only card in play. And then like 15 power appeared, and some of that was a 7/7 dragon that made me discard my hand. Like, anyway, killing attachments is a necessary thing too.
Yeah, we didn't have nearly enough. So I
Yeah.
guess maybe Xenon Obelisk is finally not going to be good. Spoilers, it's still going to be very good, and you should still play it. But
What if you play Xenon Obelisk with this card?
you can
Oh,
definitely do that. Then you would have a more powerful Overwhelm unit that sometimes draws you a card. This card is fine.
yeah.
Next up is Talir's Choice. This is a 5-cost spell, uncommon in 1 fire 1 time. Your choice is deal 2 damage to the enemy player. Your units get +2 swords this turn, or you gain 2 hearts and play 2 1/1 explorers.
It's funny because the again, this is a cycle, and the choice cycle is all of them are supremely powerful, with the exception of this card, which is baffling in its cost.
Yeah, we have the fire choice and the time choice. That's pretty clear from that. So at least we have that kind of clarity, I should say, going on, because there are a lot of cards, and I think we're gonna get to them that are just sort of pasted on effects, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? But I kind of get this, and I understand that they wanted all the effects to say 2, just to make the card read more easily and more memorable. This is a trick that Magic the Gathering has played for a long time, but once we've done that, now the effect of the card is kind of weak compared to the cost.
Yeah,
really on both sides. I think I would want the fire mode more often than the time mode.
Well, okay. I think if I was playing this card, 95% of the time I'd be choosing the fire mode, which then raises the question, why am I not playing Rally, which costs 3 and is a fast spell?
Yeah.
Like, can be a trick. Because, so, the cost of the time mode, the cost of getting 2 1/1s in the Game of Eternal card game is 1.
Yep. There's a Grenadin drone.
And being more, like, you know, usually the choices are more than the sum of their parts. This is not.
Having the choice between these 2 weak effects does not actually make up for it being a higher cost that you pay to have the choice in the first place.
Right.
So,
this is missing either being a fast spell so that you could do like the Rally Aha get you, or costing like 2 less. Like, this is that expensive in my eyes.
Yeah, it is baffling, because as Squirrel Token raises the point, like, this could cost 2.
Yes,
that would be a pretty strong card at 2, and still not like flat replace the other cards that we mentioned.
Yeah, at 2, there's a pretty good odds in the deck. I would like play this as the Rally mode a lot, like offensively, like, you know, all the in decks. Like,
but I wouldn't feel bad about getting the Explorers in Life. It's like, okay, good, another one of my cards that's cheap to trigger Vault of the Praxis, and so I can draw an extra card and play that.
Yeah, because that would be the choice, right? Like, that's why you would choose side 2. It's like, you know, I need to draw a card here.
I don't think we're going to be making Talir's Choice very much. No. Moving on to Workshop Forge, which is a 5-cost relic in 1 fire 1 time. It has warp and says warp cards on top of your deck cost 2 less.
The
warp deck.
Is there something magical about this forge? It just looks like a normal...
Yeah, it's got a horseshoe on it.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe that's all it takes. Warp is horseshoes.
Okay, warp
so
is
every warp card either is a horse or has horseshoes. Like, so the Shatterglass Mage wearing horseshoes.
This would affect copies of itself on the top of the deck, yes. This is the card that, like, makes a deck just full of warp cards possible. I still feel that deck is directionless. Is the value
like
for the
only common thread is that they have warp, so you get to do like a scatter of different effects, and they might help your cause.
You're doing value for the sake of value, which I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Like, I want to draw 20 cards. Like,
how about Heart of the Vault, 6-cost 6/6. with 3 fire 3 time influence. It has warp and says summon, deal 2 damage to an enemy, draw a card, and reduce its cost by 2.
You could. This is this is flat the best practice card in the set.
Okay.
This might be my favorite card in the set. This card does everything. Why does it do everything?
Because it's Big O. It does everything, okay?
Yeah. It's showtime, and my goodness, like, okay, so that 2 damage can even go dome. Usually you're just going to get to like kill something minor, like, okay, I kill your Initiate of the Sands, I kill your, I don't know, Pyro Knight before it goes off.
Right. Or you just pop an Aegis on either your opponent or one of your units.
But then it says draw a card on it too, and like, so if you warp this, you drew a card from warping it, and then you draw another card, like. Ooh.
So this is also one of the cards that has a bunch of stapled on effects. And I'm just like, oh yeah, it does a shock. Also, it draws a card. Also, the card gets a reduced cost. And I'm like, what? Stop it, man! You had me at 6-cost 6/6 warp, like,
yeah. Like
almost.
Yeah, like 6-cost 6. If you removed one of the 3 effects of the card, so like either the warp or the 2
it doesn't
damage
have warp
or
or it doesn't have 2 damage, doesn't have draw. Like that would be great. It'd still be a really good card.
Yeah, I specifically just went and crafted a bunch of these because I believe in this card so much.
You want to summon Big O?
Yeah, I want to summon Big O, and I have summoned Big O, and my goodness, is it good?
Okay, well, I'm glad that the influence hasn't grumped you.
I was playing a 3 faction deck, and I had to just cut it to 2 because it was impossible to cast.
Yeah.
So.
Kind of makes sense. I mean, this is we are talking about a card that's in the cycle with and has to compare to things like Icaria in order for and Votigan for us to want to play it.
Honestly, it's not as like immediately just game ending as Votigan or as just invincible as Icaria, but it plays its role well.
Right. You also don't have to build anything in particular to use this guy. With Icaria, you kind of have to build a deck that wants specifically one inviolable threat as its game-ending thing.
Yep.
With Votigan, you have to have all these cards that draw extra power cards to support him. And like you assemble the combo, and you have to like cut things like Sandstorm Titan from your deck to fit in everything else. I don't know if Icaria has quick draw. I don't think she does.
No, she dies to 5. She I don't think she is.
Yeah. Anyway.
So.
But yeah, so with Heart of the Vault, it's overall perhaps less powerful than those, but has a lower deck building cost. It just needs you to have the influence.
I guess we'll have to see if the other factions like Icaria and Votigan like cards match, because so far at least we have one that I feel deserves to be in the cycle with them. So
next up is Sandglass Sentinel, 7-cost 3/6 in Fire Time at common. It has Overwhelm and says when you play a spell, Sandglass Sentinel gets +3 swords this turn. Huh.
Kiln Fiend at like
biggest Kiln Fiend, huh? That sounds fine. Like, this is not a super powerful build around me card for Constructed, but
I'd say the weirdest thing about the card is the faction.
Yeah, there's another.
This is Skycrag, right?
Right. There's another card that I've seen that's in Praxis that cares about spells, and I'm like, why? That doesn't make sense.
Right. Like, so this and that other card, which I think is going to be our next one, are the only two that do. And like, Skycrag,
they're there to play with each other. So let's just move on to the next one. It's a spell called Moment of Creation, an 8-cost double fire, double time that says play 2 Sentinels with Sword Heart equal to the number of spells in your void.
Again,
Praxis spells.
This very much feels like a Skycrag card.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what it's doing here. I like.
It's here to trigger Vault of the Praxis, I guess.
So it's here to like. So you've played the thing that makes humbugs, and you've played Assembly Line, and now you play this, and you get 2 5/5s or 4/4s. Like,
yeah. I don't think this counts itself, no.
I don't believe it does.
So I'm pretty sure that it could make 2 0/0s if it's the first spell that you play. Like, the problem with this idea is that it pushes you in the wrong direction. Like, there are very good units and relics in Praxis to make you want to play Praxis tokens.
Right.
There are much fewer overall like spells in those colors. The spells are the role players, the more support cards.
Even looking at the spells we have from this set, Praxis, we have Purify. Okay, Purify.
Yeah,
you know,
you're playing Purify, sure.
But like Brilliant Discovery and Talir's Choice are the other two spells down below, and Talir's Choice is bad, and Brilliant Discovery is like, I feel like Brilliant Discovery is a card that goes into a Workshop Forge deck to try to keep it running. Like, and that's about it.
So I guess the only bit of synergy that Moment of Creation has that I haven't given it credit for yet is the Echo Power Draw card. What the heck is that called?
Find the Way.
Find the Way. So that puts like 2 spells in your void, and you know it's playable enough as it is, so you're not like paying that additional cost exactly. But
what a strange card. Also, just looking at this, I guess the those promos aren't actually in this set. The previous promos, the ones that are like +1/+1 your team gets +1/+1 for each unit you have.
oh yeah,
Those aren't in this set. I thought they would be considered it, but I guess
Vault Monitor.
Yeah, I could not remember the name of that one. The one I do recall is Azandel, which is. But anyway,
Let me see if I can find that in the.
Yeah, just because it's a.
Heck, I can't find him at all.
Is it promotional? Or like what set is it in?
I don't know. What if I turn all these off and then
Oh, it might be like Arcanum Monitor or something like that by name.
Oh, Arcanum Monitor, there it is. It is a promo card. It has the purple. So I don't think it belongs to either.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it goes in the Empty Throne. Okay.
Okay.
That's weird. Who knows? What are the rules?
Okay. I just was noting that because I was thinking we'd mention that one, but we already have seen that card for a couple of months now. So.
Oh, that's Sandglass Sentinel and Moment of Creation. We're moving on to Huru.
Which has a banner. Cool.
Justice Primal. First up is Bring Down. It's a fast spell, 2 power, 1 Justice, 1 Primal. Silence an enemy unit. If it had flying, kill it.
I'm pretty certain I would play not any number of this in limited, but like a lot.
It's pretty sweet. Like, occasionally you'll just be silencing something, but almost all the time you'll be killing something. And killing it in a way that even if they bring it back, it won't fly anymore. Which, yeesh.
Yeah. Like, you kill Umbran Reaper with it, or, you kill, even if you just kill, like, whoops.
Knocking an Umbran Reaper with this is the nastiest thing.
Right. So, the card that it sort of compares to is Violent Gust, and it blows Violent Gust kind of out of the water. So,
both are fast.
Yep.
So next up is Couthon, the Far Watcher, who's an unseen 2-cost 2/3, 1 primal, 1 justice, endurance. Okay. Ultimate, pay 6 to give Couthon flying and play a 4/4 owl with flying. Good gravy.
I've been seeing this card a lot in Constructed.
Yeah, I could understand that. He's pretty cheap, and has endurance and gets bigger. Or he gets flying and makes a guy.
Like,
kind of a lot going on this little guy.
Is able to like block Oni Ronin or like force a torch. I think the biggest thing there is that we've talked about how Primal is hard up for early creatures, and we were mentioning that Justice also isn't the best place for 2-drops. like after the Corn Watch got removed, toughness. It's like, oh, what do we actually have there? And it's like, oh, you have this now in those two.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts.
So
Okay, he's strong. Kind of light on the influence requirements too, which is unusual for a legend. Next up is Aerialist Trainer, who is also the Shredder. This guy was another one of the like pre-play cards, so we've seen him do a lot of work. And this was the first moment that we learned, oh wait, Mentor like exhausts the unit. Oh.
Yeah, it's like, ugh. Like, especially it's like, oh no, I have to tap my flyer rather than attack with it. But you kind of, the body's good, drawing a card is good. You just have to like give up. God, you have to like give up the aggressive tempo with it.
You give up the initiative in order to build card advantage.
Right.
That's what he asks of you, and he also shores up the ground while he does it, which makes this okay.
Yeah, this one, like I have reservations about Mentor. This one's very good. Don't let that like.
Shame he doesn't have his own flying. I guess we'll have to fix that with something else. Next up is Island's Choice. It's a 3-power fast spell in Justice Primal. The choice is negate an enemy spell with cost 4 or more, or kill an attacking enemy unit with 4 swords or more.
Now, this is the kind of choice like we're going to see with the rest of the cycle is like, on cost, maybe a little bit more expensive than the abilities you're normally getting, negate or negate with a bit of a restriction or backlash with a bit of restriction or vanquish.
Right.
But the choice makes it worth it, You can use
it's
this
a
to
little
counter.
awkward that it's attacking enemy unit. I don't know why they really needed that. Just to make the card slightly worse, I guess.
Yeah, like maybe they thought the card was a little too good as just as like replacing Vanquish.
Straight up Vanquish, yeah. I
But-
think even if you're playing the Huru deck, you're going to be playing Vanquish and this. Hell, maybe Vanquish first.
Yeah,
Just
this one. Like, if you have a deck that is afraid of Harsh Rule, this is an inclusion because it's like I can counter Harsh Rule or kill a unit if they're not playing it. Or, honestly, the two spells you're probably countering the most with this are Harsh Rule and Channel.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're making your Vanquish a little better, worse in order to do that.
Yeah, good choice, good choice. I have no idea what's going on in the illustration.
The owls are attempting to either somebody is trying to teach them how to high five or like.
I think the owls are trying to teach Island how to dab, and she's just criminally bad at it.
Like I put my hand out like this, and then
Yeah, that's only half Island. Okay, well, I've got my head down, like you said. Look, it's not hard. Are you paying attention to us? Well, I don't have wings. It's very difficult for me to replicate that without wings.
It's really hard to do this with the cloak too. Like it's kind of in the way. Like it's very hard to get my.
Next up is the Shredder. I mean, Spell Shield Architect, a 3-cost 3/2 with Aegis, and Mentor give the student Aegis.
Yeah.
Good gravy.
Invincibility, you hand it off. Of note, you don't get a window to respond in there.
Yeah.
Like if you're the opponent holding the torch. So
that's kind of disgusting, and like speaks to the game's opportunity windows or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. It's
Slightly
this
different
one's
from
good.
Magic.
This one's good.
There's a picture of a Yeti trying to throw a snowball at this person, and then it's just like bloop, splashing on the shield.
The bubble.
Which, surprisingly, is one of the better ways to get rid of an Aegis. So,
so the card is attempting to teach you how to defeat it.
Yeah. It's like a Dark Souls enemy in that way.
Yeah.
Fine card. Next up is Master's Lesson. The 4-cost spell, 2 Justice, 2 Primal. Mentor, draw a card for each of these students' battle skills.
Well, you could just put Hero of the People on the card.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like Exhaust your hero of the people and draw a card for each of his...
Like, that's what this does.
That's it. That's the only use of this card.
Well, like the only other like unit that has enough battle skills that would make this worth exhausting is Icaria. And again, why are you exhausting your Icaria instead of attacking with a Warcry 5?
With it? I mean, I guess there are situations where I have a 4/4 hero of the people and I don't want to attack with it, and I would rather draw 4. But I think we're gonna put this on the sideline forever and never cast it instead of doing that, because like generally speaking, once a unit gets up to like 3 battle skills, you want to attack with it.
Yeah. Which
Silverwing Familiar.
What's the lesson? What's the lesson?
The lesson is don't play Master's Lesson.
Like in the picture though, look at like I'm holding these two like we have these sigils. Can you match two? Like.
Oh yeah, no. It's one of those. It's very simple. It's one of those same or different games where they rapidly show you 2 things, and you have to say whether they're the same thing or different things.
Oh, okay.
That's it. So next up is Shelterwing Writer. All right. 4 cost 0/4 flying Aegis, and Shelterwing Writer has +5 swords while she has an Aegis. Oh.
So she's Shredder on an owl, and that means you get an unseen bird.
Yeah, sure enough.
Yeah.
2 Justice, 2 Primal for this. This is quite strong, and then your opponent can just turn it off.
Right, like, well, so I guess I'd think of it this way: you have a 5/4 flyer that when it dies, it makes an 0/4 flyer. You know, like
yeah. So
obviously, Aegis can pop in other ways.
So you feel okay targeting this thing with regular removal, and that's great. And you feel like a champion when you target it with a Levitate or other things that sort of just exist to break Aegis.
Yeah, like it. I'm very intrigued to play this in limited because, like, even 5/4 flying in limited is the game-ending threat, you know, and it becoming an 0/4 means that now it's like it has been relegated to blocking duty after retiring from the force.
Not only that, if it comes back, it'll get the Aegis back. Also, if it loses the Aegis, you can cast Protect on it for surprise. I have 5 power again.
Yeah.
The Rider is a 5/0, and the Owl is a 0/4.
Together they fight crime.
I think you'd have a hard time getting through life as a 5/0. Next up is Shield Bash. There's a 4-cost spell, 1 Justice, 1 Primal, that says stun an enemy unit, gain 2 armor, draw a card.
Hold on. I haven't looked at this art. Why are they shield bashing an Autobot?
I don't know.
What is going on here?
I told you it was Megatron. I told you. All the strangers are secretly Transformers.
Oh my goodness. This is... Also, yeah, shield bashing with the side of the shield. Like, anyway, the card itself is very, like, we stapled some minor effects together, and that actually makes it all right. Like, I'm not...
It is okay as far as cards go, but very weird.
Right. It's this...
Why armor? Why does it cantrip? I guess stunning is fine. There's no cohesion between anything that's happening. I could not have predicted the name Shield Bash and this effect. I could maybe have predicted the illustration and the name.
I could have... I guess I would predict Shield Bash with stun. Like, that makes sense to me as, like, the ability. Okay,
and you're getting the armor because it's a shield?
That's weird,
and
though.
You're
like,
using the... Yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, Shield Bash should be deal damage to a unit equal to your armor.
Yeah, that's Shield Bash.
That's Shield Bash.
But, yeah, I get the stun, like, I can at least like, that's like a Diablo skill, you know, the Shield Bash. And you bop them, bop them. That's I think that's literally a Crusader skill, so...
Well... Anyway, what a stapler. Weird ass card.
Very, very much so.
Speaking of weird cards, next is Champion of Order, which is a
I've
champion.
not seen this. All right.
Oh, he's weird. He's a 5-power 2/2. One time, one primal. I'm sorry, one justice, one primal.
Mhm.
And it at the 5 justice gate, at the start of your turn, double Champion of Order's Sword Heart. And at
Okay.
the 5 primal gate, at the start of your turn, play a copy of Champion of Order.
the last man like you'll ever need in your army, because your entire army is just made up of this one guy. Like,
Yep. He replicates himself. This is a very tall order, because even at the gates, if you have both gates when you play this guy, he doesn't do anything until your turn starts again. So your opponent will always have this window to mess him up.
and it's 2 hearts. Like, that is super easy to.
Yeah.
And so the copy keeps like double. So you start with 1/2/2, and then you get 2 4/4s, and
Yep.
then you have 4 8/8s, and oh boy,
Right. And you're right. You do need to play this guy with Protect up. There's no scenario where you just naked play this dude.
right? Okay, so I'm intrigued by its design, because it's very, very fragile, but if you don't kill it at its very fragile moment, the game ends. Like, like you've hit your gates, and all of a sudden 36 power is on your side.
I mean, I could see the moment also where you do get 2 4/4s and they play 2 vanquishes or something, and at that point you have 2 for 1 to your opponent, and that's fine. That all said, he is abysmally poor without the gates on.
Oh, God,
which is kind of exceptional for champions. Almost every champion is just fine with their like base stats.
I have played the Feln champion as a 5/5 with no text more times than I can remember. Like, just because it's a 5/5 with
and
no text.
you know, he's there, he works.
But
A lot of them are poor in that way. Just 4 cost 3/3s, 3 cost 2/2s, that kind of thing. But you'll still play them. A 5 cost 2/2.
yeah.
Ugh.
Well, try to hit the gates before you play it.
Yeah. Don't play a whole bunch of Champion of Order. I can't wait to get crushed by the multiplicative man.
Yeah.
Next up is Duelists Bleed. 5 cost 4/4 relic weapon in 1 justice, 1 primal. Summon, you gain an Aegis.
I love this one. Like, I realize that like Auric Runehammer exists, and it's like, well, Auric Runehammer just does the thing better a lot of the times. But sometimes, like, you actually you want the Aegis and then kill like a 3-power thing, and the Aegis means that you're immune to something like Channel. They have to break it before then.
Yeah, they can't torch off your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
They can still attack into it, and that's fine. If you're running Island's Favor already, then maybe you don't care about this. But even so, we haven't really had a straight 4/4 relic weapon, right? Like,
starting
we have
the die show.
But
that's not
Starsteel Die Show is no ordinary weapon.
Right. So
yeah, it's kind of good. Like, any given relic weapon is probably good, just because you get to use it right away and do stuff. That's usually how they go. The 2 cost 2/2 is really poor because it just doesn't do enough. This absolutely does enough. So yeah. Oh yeah, and this sword protects your other relics. That's true. Like with the Aegis, they can't pop off any of the relics that you have on your body.
Yeah, so it's a strong one. It's a strong one.
And that's Duelists Bleed. Next up is High Wind Glider. It's a 6 cost 1/5 bird. Has flying and says pay 5 to draw a card. Goodness.
This is it says high wind, but like looking at the horizon and the curvature of the earth, this bird has to be miles up.
Yeah, it's way up there. Jeez. Guess that's why it costs 6.
Yeah.
But for real, like, repeated draw, even at that cost, is really good.
Yeah. The idea with this like cycle is, it's like something to do with your power when you're kind of out of things to do, and drawing cards is a good thing to do when you're out of things, out of real things to do. Oh, yeah, I like it.
So yeah, really solid. Pretty powerful. Next up is Meditative Stranger. Oh dear.
Yeah.
It's a 6-cost 4/4 that says strangers have Aegis.
This is specifically the stranger that makes me think strangers have legs, and not just like the fact that they have legs.
Yeah, the obvious fact that Meditative Stranger has not been skipping leg day.
Right. But all of a sudden you now can't harsh rule the board away, and pinpoint removing the key strangers, like the pumping stranger, the one that's dealing, like giving them some sort of flying, the evasive keyword, is very hard.
So here's the part that gets me. Aegis is a toggle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't just lose it when this stranger leaves the board, right?
You do.
You do.
That's
unusual.
Yes, I've played against it, and when this card left the board, the bubbles all disappeared.
Huh.
Which, again, is weird because Aegis is a toggle. So...
Okay, well, I'm glad about that and simultaneously baffled. But geez, this is dangerous. I thought the Charge Stranger was dangerous, but the Aegis Stranger? Yeah.
Yeah, so they're strong, and one of the cards that I think makes strangers something you might see.
Okay. So next up is Nostrix, Lord of Visions, a 6-power 5/7 with triple justice, triple primal cost. Has flying and mentor. Give the student and each other copy in your hand and deck +3/+3.
Okay, I accept 5/7 flyer for 6, base, and then we have this incredibly good pump effect with it.
I like how it can block Ikaria, except if you've rise to the challenge Ikaria.
It'll still at least kill Ikaria.
Yeah, it would still trade.
But yeah, if you rise Ikaria, then...
And then the next Ikaria has +5/+5, so... Yeah, the game does kind of need Relentless Rats, and I don't think you can just jam this in Clockroaches and be good.
No. So this is, again, so this is the Ikaria slotted card. As triple influence requirements on both. I'm trying to think of what the best thing to do with that student ability is.
Yeah, I have no idea. Clearly what we want to do is cheat on this effect, right? Somehow, have more copies of the card than we really should be able to have in the deck.
Yeah, or have extra copies already at the ready, like with an Echo card, just something like that. Where so if you can either make the effect immediate or make the effect larger, those would be the two that you want.
Yeah, I guess things like Thunderstrike Dragon or Revenge Creatures, but really, aren't you just playing those guys anyway?
Yeah. So I guess the question really is, do you play this over Thunderstrike Dragon? That's the hard question, even.
I honestly don't think I do. Because 5/6 and 5/7 are very similar.
Both still died to Ikaria when she's got the rise. That doesn't change that.
Anyway, I'm gonna put him back. I wouldn't craft that guy.
Let's move away from the Nostrix.
Aid of the Huru, a 12-cost legendary spell Double Justice, double Primal. It says, stun each enemy unit. Play 2 4/4 owls with flying. Draw 2 cards. Gain 4 armor. So as far as putting short stories on card text, they have accomplished that.
Mm-hmm.
Owls give you stuff. The card.
Hi, the owl. Look at how big those owls
They're
are.
very, very large owls. That's what it means to be 4/4 in the world of Eternal card game, I guess.
How tall is Seraph? Oh my god.
Seraph is very tall.
Oh my god. So this card sort of competes with Channel as far as like the game-ending threat card in this area, but also is very strong in just doing everything.
So it doubly affects the board, both with the stun and creating dudes. It replaces itself and draws an extra card, and also gains you health effectively, and sometimes better than health if you have like a relic weapon equipped.
Right, lets you survive so you don't get burned out
It's
after
just the spell that does it all of these unconnected effects stapled together.
How many shield bashes is this? We have 2 shield bashes, except for you
but-
stun every unit and you get the owls. The owls give you shield bashes. That's it.
Yeah. Owls give you a bunch of shield badges. Get out of here with this. 12!
12.
12 power for that. That's crazy. I think that's too much. Like, Channel the Tempest is what, 8?
8. You're either like playing the longest of long games with like a couple of this in your deck at most, or you're trying to cheat this off of like a herald, the thing that infiltrate casts a spell from your yard.
Oh my god. Oh wait, no. Can we do this with Wait, did you just say the island?
Which
Does
one?
that work? No. Okay, so there's the blue Scion who can cast spells from your deck.
Ooh.
There's the infiltrate guy who can pull a card from your deck and deal damage equal to its cost. The spell from
Yeah.
It's just
And then
yeah.
And then there's the infiltrator that like get there with
That
plays
casts
a
it
spell
from the
you.
yard, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm saying I don't want to have to pay 12.
Nah.
I want to cheat.
12 basically sounds impossible. Like unless like the only card that makes it even plausible in this would be Iron Thorn, and even that's still hefty.
I would not want to discard this to Whispering Wind, because
Do you
Whispering.
get a card?
No, you don't. If there is no card in your deck that costs more than the card you discarded, you will not draw anything.
Okay, then I guess you discard it to the Yeti, the trader.
Oh yeah. Yeti
who's-
Explorer.
Yeah,
The Yeti and the Explorer.
who wheels and deals.
Okay, we're moving on
Alright.
to the Argenport faction.
Okay.
Starting off with Auric Bully. It's a 2-cost 3/2 Minotaur and +1/+1 while wielding a weapon.
Okay. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. More restrictive
tells-
cost, upgrade ability sometimes to Argenport Soldier or whatever.
Yeah, and kind of tells you what they want to be doing with the faction. Like, sort of. It's weird because like
Yeah.
revenge and weapons don't play well together. So.
Right.
those-
And,
those two-
they don't want to have a weapon that has a permanent buff on it because that's already the effect of a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah. The card is good. It's just the more I'm thinking about it, the more confused I am at what Argenport's doing in the set.
Yeah.
So we'll
Like,
see.
he doesn't have revenge. He doesn't have lifesteal. We're moving on. Next up is Auric Vigilante. Is a 2-cost 1/1 with revenge, and when Auric Vigilante attacks, she gets +1 sword. So this was another one of the pre-promo play with it cards, so we kind of know how this works. It's the first revenge card that we had, and it's neat that it has a built-in synergy with its own revenge. which is to
Yeah.
say a permanent buff that it gets.
Yeah, that like plays well with itself. This is a very aggressive card. Like if you're playing this in a deck, you're not like doing some sort of revenge value deck. You're doing a revenge, like I'm playing this on early, and then later in the game, I just it comes back.
Yeah,
as a
later in the game, I just have additional units.
Yeah.
This is sickeningly good with Paladin Oathbook, as most every revenge card is.
Yeah.
Which is the primary deck that I played against in that event.
Yeah, Oathbook's a known card. And this works well with revenge here. So
Okay.
all right.
Next up is Bartholo, the Seducer. 3 cost 2/2. 2 Justice, 1 Shadow gets you Unblockable Aegis, and ultimate, pay 10 to draw a relic of your choice from your deck.
So the ultimate is almost like not relevant here because the text box is good enough.
Yeah,
Like
when are you getting to 10?
it has that text box so that if you in the like 1 out of every like 15 games you get to it, you can use it and go pick out like whatever is useful to the situation, or just use it to say draw a card, cast.
Yeah, it's me. I've never had hair that long.
Okay. But Unblockable and Aegis is a hell of a combination. Like that is. This is like unblockable threat. This is what you want to put your weapons on. You want to put your buffs on to end the game very quickly. So there's definitely a deck for this Oathbook. Like
Yeah. Why is he a gunslinger?
is there a gun in?
Yeah, I mean, arguably the thing that is hip is a gun. Is he gonna
Maybe.
throw the rose? Is that a gun? Is that all it takes to sling?
No. It must be like the throwing the rose to distract them and then pulling out the gun.
So what a bizarre card. I guess Aegis to play into the weapon theme that Argenport has. Maybe. But anyway, next up is Bloodletter, which is in fact a weapon and not a letter at all.
No, it is not.
But it's a 3 cost 3/2 regular weapon that says summon the wielder gets lifesteal this turn.
Yeah, this is all right.
It's fine. I think I would almost always want Lethrai Felshawn.
Yeah, agreed.
That's basically it. Like I think they've overdone the this turn thing with the whole weapons. Like the best one was unblockable this turn, Trickster's Cloak, and that's just
right. That's because that's also because with what it was meant to be, like infiltrate only works once, so you only need the unblockable one time to get the infiltrate
right
off.
But like everything that cares about life gain is like, nah, I want this again and again.
But yeah, like I guess you're right. If I'm playing Bartholo, I'd rather curve into a Felshawn on Bartholo than play Bloodletter on Bartholo.
Yeah. Oh, the zoo is saying this is a Kusari Gamma. Okay. I don't think I would want to wield something that looks like this in real life. Oh, they get lifesteal this turn because they're still figuring out how to use it, and they cut themselves a bunch, and you get the blood.
Yeah.
That's kind of gross. Next up is a very easy to understand spell, Slay. A 3 power regular spell, not fast, and 1 justice, 1 shadow, and it says kill a unit.
This does the job.
I like that the effect of this card is easier to understand than anything else about it. Like it has the 3 here, the 2 little symbols here, this colored half moon has an effect, has some meaning, and the spell at the bottom that has some meaning. But if you're a new player to the game, all you're gonna see is this sentence and be like, ah, I get it. And you get to
Yep.
use that to build your understanding of all the rest of what's going on. So I kind of like this. Oh, and it's a strong card.
Oh, that
Like
too.
three cost to just merp. Doesn't care about colors, doesn't care about whether it had charge or flying.
Just
Just
I need this unit to be removed.
get out of here.
Works.
So next up is Champion of Vengeance, a 4-power 3/3 and 1 Justice, 1 Shadow. At the 4 Justice gate, it is invulnerable to damage during your turn. At the 4 Shadow gate, when Champion of Vengeance attacks, she gets +2 power. That's permanent, by the way. So it can, the first time it'll become a 5/3 and then a 7/3 and so on.
Right. Honestly, I'd say the weakest point here is like it's always going to be 3 heart, like always going to be like torchable.
Yeah. It gets to free wheel its attacks, though.
It does.
Like the two abilities play into one another, and that's kind of what I like about it.
Absolutely. Like, sure, everything dies to removal. This thing does not die to combat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the so I guess the I guess it's just called the Doom Blade. Like, oh yeah, it dies to removal sort of thing. Like,
Right. I mean, they can't even torch it during your turn. Is the other thing.
right. I guess the hope would be just keep your tricks to keep it alive.
It can kind of end the game on its own.
Yeah.
If,
Well, it's gonna become the Abyss very quickly. Like, once it's at 7 or 9, that's just the Abyss.
Yeah. This is a really good target for the give a unit revenge spell. By the
Ooh.
way.
Much like the previous Auric, this one keeps its swords when if it revenges. So
That's kind of nasty. Who's up next? Up next is Sanguine Sword, a 4-cost 2/2 relic weapon. It says summon. You may sacrifice a unit to give Sanguine Sword a +2/+2.
There's a sacrifice theme in this faction too. What?
I don't know. They kind of inherited that from Shadow.
I guess. Okay.
Sadly, the better version of this already exists, and it's called Bloodright Callus. And that card is amazing.
I guess you don't have to sack your whole board.
Yeah, this is less of a build around me card and more of a thing that you're not embarrassed to play in limited. It's also a common, and common relic weapons are very unusual.
You sack your Wisp, you sack your Gargoyle, you sack your, I don't know, 1-drop, and
Yeah,
you get a
if you're
4/4
not
weapon.
if you're not doing the sacrifice thing and not picking this up, it's very poor. Like we can have a 2/2 relic weapon for 2, and we don't even want that.
Yeah,
So,
like that's a common back earlier, so
I think it being a common means I'm happy to see it really late after I already am in Argenport or I have a lot of things to sacrifice, and I'm like, okay, cool.
yeah. Well, to me, it's just weird because, like, I am more I look at Argenport cards, I'm not sure what they want to be doing.
Well, let's see what this guy wants to be doing.
Alright.
Stone Powder Alchemist, 4-cost 2/2 in Justice Shadow. Lifesteal, Revenge, Summon, deal 2 damage to the enemy player. And it's worth noting that because Stone Powder Alchemist is dealing the damage, you also get the lifesteal off of that.
Yeah.
So he gains you 2 life right away. Man, there's a lot of 2s floating around, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay.
Like
now,
everything that does a thing does 2 of a thing.
2s, 2.
So many
with a
2s.
weapon. This feels with obviously.
Oh,
not,
it's set 2. Oh, I'm such an idiot.
Oh.
That's why.
Obviously, like the Revenge has this in Argenport, but everything else tells me like Life Force Xenon
Right?
stuff. Like, you really want this to trigger a lot of your life, because it immediately triggers your life force stuff. It continuously triggers your life force stuff. It comes back later to trigger your life force stuff.
He's just really grindy.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Like, blam, hit you for 2, gain 2 life. Chump block, gain 2 life. Okay, he comes back, nugget for 2, gain 2 life. Block, gain 2 life. It's just...
I guess that makes sense with the stone powder, which is being continuously grinded up and put into these shells.
Very, very grindy. Next up is Streetwise Informant, a 4-cost 1/4 Minotaur Rogue at Uncommon, with Endurance Unblockable and pay 5 to gain 2 armor. Which, okay, Stone Powder Alchemist is also uncommon. This guy, I don't know what he is or does. What the heck?
Like, okay, the first 2 abilities have some synergy together, you know?
Yeah, idea being that you always get to attack.
Yeah,
Just
you're
freely
always
do
able
it.
to attack. But where's the armor come from? What?
Are we... Is that information? Are we shielding ourselves with words?
I'm informed.
He's informing us of, hey, there's another shield. You can have it.
Yeah. So this definitely is. You talked about like some of the cards in the set just being a mishmash of like abilities without a lot of cohesion.
Yeah.
The third ability makes this.
That's
first
really
2,
it. Like this guy is part of the cycle of pay 5 for an effect and you can do it continuously. And they ran out of ideas, so they just made this guy.
It might have been like that they had this card and decided to add it to that cycle.
Right. It might have been just a 4-cost 1/4 Endurance Unblockable, at which point I would kind of accept that. I'd be like, oh, well, it's not exciting, but I understand it.
Right. Whatever.
Yeah, let's put him away. Next up is Bereaved Stranger. He's just... And now, okay, this is starting the stranger joke, I think. Because at this point, the same way we could have Adjective Baloth in Magic the Gathering, we could have Adjective Stranger. We could have Unscrupulous Stranger.
They all have, yeah, the Leatherback Stranger, Obstinate Stranger,
Obstinate Stranger,
Ravenous Stranger.
Oh no! Don't laugh at Sad Dad. Oh no!
Yeah.
Being sad makes you lifesteal, I guess.
They are sad because, yeah.
Well, he's a 5-cost 4/4 that says strangers have lifesteal, and at that cost for just a plain old lifesteal unit, I am like, okay, A+.
Right.
I'm ready for this.
And then it also hands off like lifesteal to like a if it hands
Team
off,
lifesteal is oppressive.
Team lifesteal is gain 10 at the moment you play this card, and then 12 every turn after. Like,
That's kind of disgusting. Oh man, and he pairs with a stranger that's like deal damage when they attack.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
There's a lot of different directions for strangers.
Well, next up is Inquisitor Mokto. It's a 5-cost 5/5 in 2 Justice, 2 Shadow Influence. Flying Revenge, and Mokto's revenge never ends. Which...
What a text box.
Yikes. That's scary.
Yeah, talking about cards, like, if you removed 1 sentence from them, I'd still be willing to play them A+, like, no questions, but goodness.
So, yeah, this guy's kind of disgusting if you put a Protect on him. And similarly disgusting if you hold up a sack effect to make sure they can't silence it.
Yeah. If you devour or something like that.
And even if you don't do those things, just a plain old 5-cost 5/5 flying is already quite good.
Comment code says that thing you won't know just looking at the card. Mokto goes, his call-out lines are scenery chewing Sinistar, run, cowards.
Oh my god.
Like,
That makes me want to craft this guy.
Yeah.
Man.
Also, the card makes me want to craft this.
Yeah, no, he's quite good. I don't know how we, like... Maybe we can just build around Mokto. Heck. Like, the entire rest of the deck is just trying to get him to happen, and...
You get to Mokto, and then, like, when Mokto dies, you cast Scheme to re-find Mokto.
Right. Squeeze Rise to the challenge in that. Hell yes.
Ooh.
I guess you could just plain old make an Oathbook deck and have Mokto as the biggest baddest dude after you've like peeled removal out of their hand with other things.
Okay, so you're playing Bartholo and like something like that, and like that's peeling a ton of removal out of your opponent for the Oathbook, and then they finally are like, "Oh, I'm free," and it's like, "No, you're not. You're never free."
Oh, can we like? Oh no, I have tons of dust. Like, not only that, but you know, I'm holding 11,000 Shiftstone in like duplicate cards that I haven't done, so I'll be able to make things. Don't worry about that. I'm just sort of taking it all in right now.
Right.
Like I'm taking in Roland's Choice, which is a 5-cost spell, 1 Justice, 1 Shadow. And the choice is give one of your units +3/+3 permanently, or enemy units get -1/-1 also permanently.
You know,
this is pretty blah. Like
it's so unlike Talir's Choice, this one's a little more expensive for what you're getting, but still plays well enough. Like Talir's Choice, you're getting 1-cost effects or things like that. Like the front half plays well with Revenge, and like, you know, you put it on the unit.
That's true.
But like, and sometimes -1/-1 is just what you need to kill a Dawnwalker. Or,
Yeah,
like,
I get it, but
right,
like
Plague.
Plague is 3-cost Shadow. Enemy units get -1/-1, and it's already kind of marginal. I like it more than most, and most people that I watch or play with are like, no, I will never cast that. And like asking someone to pay 5 in double faction for that effect is crazy. Also, yes, Roland is definitely standing on a dead Autobot.
Yeah, this is Roland's choice was siding with the Decepticons. That was the choice, I guess. Or wait, or is Roland Justice? So is Roland the Autobots? And we're standing on Decepticon courses. I don't know.
I think he's conflicted.
He's yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, like it's. So like whereas Talir's Choice, I want that card to cost like 2. This one probably would like actually be like 3 or 4. Like 4 might still be a little.
I would play it at 3. I would definitely play this at 3. I think the front half, the like +3/+3, would be a little strong at just 3 as a cost. I don't think we have straight up that effect, because we have Finest Hour, which is temporary, and we have Augmented Form. That's like +6/+6, and it's disgusting. And it's not. I'm sorry. Augmented Form is fast. This is not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's. I don't. I don't like it.
Weaker choice, but it's at least not like unplayably weak. So.
Okay, next up is Valkyrie Denouncer, who's a 5-cost 3/3 Flying Revenge. That's it. Okay,
I'm all on board on this.
For an extra color, you can get an upgrade to your Huru Fledgling.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. He's solid.
I'm good.
I also like that the artwork depicts an old man. Still mixing it up after all this time.
Who's there's like this like lady in the
back.
Yeah,
there's an anime in the background.
Yeah, who put this anime in the background?
Yeah, someone like has come in from Fire Emblem to say, "Oh no, what's this?"
Oh no, Dad or Grandpa.
Right. So then we have Grinva, Judge of Battles.
That's a Fire Emblem villain. Don't. What's going on?
Grinva. Okay, who's a 7-cost 7/9 Minotaur. It triple Justice, triple Shadow. When one of your other units dies, Grinva deals that unit's sword in damage to the enemy player.
Okay.
Yikes.
So, again, in the Icaria, like, size, this one should see, with Harsh Rule, should see everything die. So, there's that. Use Harsh Rule and the game ends.
Yeah, give Grinva lifesteal.
Also, that's just huge.
Yeah. Just straight up 7/9 tangles with most everything. At this cost, you usually get 7/7s.
Yeah.
I think that Grinva does the least of all of the Icarias on her own, and probably does the most with a little support.
Yeah, like...
And it doesn't take
Again.
much support to do it. You have to sacrifice a unit, or suicide attack a unit, or give Grinva lifesteal.
So, if we're talking about the themes of Argenport here, like, we've got the kind of the revenge playing in, because it's like you want to see your units die and then they come back later and get an additional effect as they die, which also sort of plays into the sacrifice theme, which is I don't even know if that's a theme, that's one card, but definitely you want to give this lifesteal. Yeah, play this with leave a witness and leave Grinva as the witness.
That is savage. It requires 2 7-cost legends. So
Yeah, that's
maybe if you play that much, then you get to win the game, sure.
Yeah.
So we're moving on into the Snow Crag? Storm Crag? Sky Crag. Damn it.
The Aggro Crag.
The Aggro Crag. The Aggro Crag faction. We start with Champion of Fury, who's a 2-cost 2/2 and 1 fire, 1 primal. At the double fire gate, it has +1 attack and charge. At the double primal gate, it has +1 attack and overwhelm, which is bonkers. This guy is so good.
I've been playing against this guy a bunch, and this Yeti just keeps kicking me in. Stop it! Like
crush.
So this plays well as like a very aggressive option. You know, you play Oni Ronin and you get to play this, and if you played Seats, you know, it's already on, and like it plays well with Spark because of like 4 power overwhelm and charge. You could like play it and immediately Spark, or you play it and then next turn, if it didn't die, you get to attack overwhelm and then Spark. It's
yeah. He's also a much lower ask than a lot of the champions. Having like playing 2 banners or 2 seats or 1 banner 1 seat is much easier than all of the other champions, basically. I mean, okay, except the guy who's literally this in Champion of Rakano. Champion of
Endurance and Quick Draw.
Champion of Endurance.
Glory.
Champion of Glory. Yeah. It's totally what he's the champion of. Well, Champion of Fury is the only champion of the new set that I am excited about. He's great.
This is the one I've already like seen and know that this is like just looking at it like 4/2 charge overwhelm for 2 that basically at any point after turn 3 is on. Like, whoo. That's good stuff.
Yeah, he's quite aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Sets the tone for what we want out of an aggro crag. Next up is Caleb's Choice, which I guess depicts Caleb making a choice to raise his leg or not. 2-cost fast spell, and 1 fire, 1 primal. The choice is negate an enemy spell with a single faction, or kill an enemy attachment with a single faction.
Again, this is one of the strongest choices. You know,
That's basically cost for both those effects, and instead of increasing the cost to make the effect not conditional, they've made the effect conditional to keep the cost low. I guess that's how that goes.
Like, the thing is, like, Ruin isn't a card I want to include in a list because of how narrow it is, but Ruin that also has backlash on it and the ability to, oh, if my opponent does play Harsh Rule or
Yeah.
Channel,
Now
or
there are a
even Torch.
lot. There are a lot of attachments. Yeah, attachment is what it is.
Yeah.
There are a lot of attachments that have double faction or no faction, I guess, and this can't touch them, and that's kind of a problem.
But some of the strongest ones, again, Obelisk it could hit, but
Zenith
even
Obelisk, Vaults of the Praxis, Paladin Oathbook,
like,
even most relic weapons.
You can break open a. Wow, you actually get to kill a Auric Runehammer with that.
Yep.
That's beautiful because everybody who plays Auric Runehammer thinks they are completely safe.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're not safe anymore. Caleb is gonna make a choice.
Permafrost, yeah. So a lot of stuff. This one's good.
You'll probably have a target. So next up is Rock Slide, which is another of Caleb's choices. What? A 2-cost fast spell, 1 fire, 1 primal. The choice is deal 2 damage to an enemy or deal 1 damage to 2 enemies.
So we have fire.
That's not super exciting.
However,
we already have choice, but
this one, 2 things I can say about this is that it's, for one, it's nice to be able to, like, against another aggressive deck, it's like kill your Oni Ronin, kill your Pyro Knight, and just kind of like cackle as I get my 2 for 1.
Pop 2 Aegises.
Right, or even like kill Initiate of the Sands, pop an Aegis somewhere else. Maybe break a weapon before it gets to do its thing because it can go to the face.
It is fast. That's nice. And this is flat disgusting with Cloud Snake Harrier.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Deal 3 damage to an enemy or 2 damage to 2 enemies.
Now,
the
templating for this in a magic effect would say deal 2 damage, split your choice.
Divided as you choose among up to 2 targets.
But this does not. So if you use the Cloud Snake, or you even use that bell, you ring the bell, and the Rock Slide all of a sudden becomes.
Don't ring the bell. The bells are bad.
Don't. But this is one of the cards that goes with the bell. If you were ringing the bell, honestly, do the Cloud Snake.
Just play a 3-cost 3/3 flyer. That's way better than this. Okay,
Hello.
so
Yoko ended, so I'm here now.
Okay, we're up to Clan Hero, who I hope has Nuktats that just says Clan Hero on it. He's a 3-cost 3/3, which of course I love, and he's immediately
we love those guys.
He's trained Armadon. He's there, but he has Spark. Play a +2 attack Iron Sword on Clan Hero. So it's the same Iron Sword that Crimson Granite Acolyte creates.
Oh, so we're up to
Skycrag.
Skycrag. Okay, yeah.
This is the another card that makes the aggro Craig a real deck, because if you play the champion on 2, and even if it trades on 3, it still goes over, and then I play a 5/3.
Yeah, I play. What if a common that is only slightly worse than Champion of Chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's kind of good. I like him.
Yep.
Plus weapon interaction. Like, who knows?
He does create a weapon, and so does Vadius, Clan Father.
This card is a beating. I've seen this guy already.
3-cost 3/2 in 2 fire 1 primal. Quick draw, Aegis, ultimate, pay 7 to play a Steel Fang Chakram on Vadius. Good grief.
Okay.
Steel Fang Chakram being a 4-power, 4-attack weapon with Entomb, draw Steel Fang Chakram from your void.
I know when we talked about the aggro Craig during the fire and primal cards, like it seemed like something like, that's a deck, right? No, like every single card we've seen is just like the most aggressive, on curve, like powerful thing.
Like every last one of them demands removal spells. This guy demands multiple.
Yeah.
You also cannot beat this guy in combat, because if you try blocking, like a torch is going to come out of your opponent's hand.
If your Sandstorm Titan gets in front of Vadius just pulls out the torch and pokes it.
Wham! So yeah, this guy is all kinds of value. It's disgusting how good this guy is.
And despite clearly wielding a chakram, he's a gunslinger.
Well, the chakram is a gun.
I said no. The chakram is not the gun. The arms. He's like, hey, check out these guns.
Yes, you got tickets to the gun show. You don't have one sleeve.
Click, boom. So next up is Calderon Cradle. That's all it takes to be a gunslinger. You too can work out and sling guns.
That's why Jack is a gunslinger.
Jack.
Can we just call him Jacked instead of Jack?
I want to call him Jacked, but
Jacked.
he's Jack. I'm sorry.
He's
I'm
Jacked.
Rejected. Okay, next up is Calderon Cradle, which is a 4-cost relic in 1 fire 1 primal that says for every 5 spells you play a 5/5 dragon with flying. Now, this is another one of the preview cards, and I actually built a deck completely around this card, knowing that 4 of it was going to be put in my deck. And there are a couple of things that I can tell you about it. It does keep track of how many spells you have played on the relic itself. So you can like look at the relic and see, I have played this many, I need to play this many more. I can also tell you that it gets extremely confusing if you play a second one.
Ooh,
which is the exciting thing to do because, then your spells are doing double duty, they count toward both cradles, but for whatever reason, the interface does not allow you to see both of them, so it's up to you to remember after that point if you have played multiple.
And they do track separately.
Yeah. I have played against this in current constructed against it was a shadow added with this, and the entirety of the deck was just cantripping spells and removal. And Calderon Cradle is their only win con, and it's just like, yeah, that works.
That seems okay, frankly. Like you can find a lot of decent spells in those colors.
Plus, if you're playing Shadow, you can change.
Did they change the interface now so that you can see both Calderon?
Okay, so that was not the case when I played with it before. So if you can see both of them now, that's an improvement.
Yeah, this was we're talking about the event preview, which was
right.
So that might have been feedback they got.
Yeah, I mean, I was at some point. I remember I had a it was when I had a boosted. I was playing with my Huru deck, so I have an Eye of Winter in that deck, and I had a Staff of Stories, I think it's called, and I had boosted the Staff of Stories with Hone, so I could actually attack, but I was trying to use the Eye of Winter to stun a unit, and it wouldn't let me. It was like, oh, you want to attack? Because you got, and I'm like, no. So I had to do this ridiculous play where I hone my thing, attack, and then I could Eye of Winter the same unit, uselessly attacking it.
Interesting.
So that just plain didn't happen.
So, I would really love this card if the dragons had charge.
Oh, that would make it better.
Would be a storm deck. Actual storm deck, but whereas it doesn't have charge, so it could be some kind of control thingy instead.
Right. As it stands, this card is garbage, and you should never play it. But I love it, so
but also,
it's fun.
What can I do?
Play it with Shadow so you can play the Midnight Riders. I don't care what the card's actually called. Play it with the Midnight Riders.
How about the real Cowboys of Moo Mesa? We play with those. So next up is Hunter's Harpoon, which is a 4-cost 1/1 regular old weapon in Fire and Primal with Quick Draw, and says when the wielder hits the enemy player, draw a card.
So, Ophidian plus Quick Draw. So the guy makes the guy hard to block, but also you want to block him.
Yep. It's It needs to find the right unit to go on.
Yeah.
But, like, on that right unit.
That is definitely asking an interesting question.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see if this works with Overwhelm.
I'm almost certain that it does. So,
like, what is the exact text? I can check by checking the exact text of Infiltrate.
There's a lot of stuff in the second set that has said, if this hits, if this hits.
If this hits, yeah.
I don't remember seeing that in set 1.
It did not exist in set 1.
I think in set 1 those were all infiltrate effects.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Those are one-off.
And like with infiltrate, it just cared about damage. It didn't care about the actual curvy swing punch animation, which
Apparently
I think this
overwhelmed does count. So,
which is to say, if you attack with an overwhelm unit that has a hunter's harpoon equipped, and some overwhelm damage goes to the opponent, that counts as hitting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if like the ice bow counts as hitting them?
That one that one I'm not certain
See,
about.
again, I don't think so. Just instinctively, I want to say hits is only to like the direct attacking damage. But I don't know. I haven't played with any of these cards. I mean, except Caldera Cradle.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's ambiguous language, and I'm not I said this with the gets earlier.
Yeah.
I don't like the ambiguous.
Well,
language.
at least with gets, we could look at a previous card that we have played with for some idea of how that works. So, like, thank you, Crown Watch Cavalry, for that one.
Yeah.
But here's some other language on cards that we've seen before. You might have seen this on some cards before. Mortar. This is a 4-cost fast spell that says deal 4 damage.
This is
1 fire, 1 primal.
This is another card that I have seen in the aggro crag, just as like
another burn.
Yeah,
spell.
I need more torches. What of it?
Yeah.
I would really love this card if it were 3 mana, but I kind of understand why they made it Lightning Blast.
At common, I'm certain it's fine as Lightning Blast.
For like draft, but
yeah,
like multi-faction, you kind of expect a little bit more. But
right.
This is still...
Well, the other thing is like every 1 additional point of damage that you add is like so many more creatures that it can kill.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of understand the large scaling of power for like a small bit of extra damage compared to Torch.
Yeah.
But I think what this is really telling us is Torch is too good. They kind of know that, but they're not willing to change it.
I think that's like, it's okay. You can let each faction have a card that's just a little too good.
Yeah, I think between Torch, Permafrost, Finest Hour, Annihilate.
I was going to say Quick Draw
Judgment.
before.
Okay, well they changed Quick Draw.
But they changed it from 1 to 2.
It's still good.
Yeah, that was obviously that was oh my god, 1 mana for
because Lightning Bolt is 1 mana for 3 damage.
Obelisk, Zenith Obelisk is clearly way too good.
I don't know if Zenith. It's weird that in this game, which is so similar to Magic, just how much better Glorious Anthem is. Like Glorious Anthem is like a good card in Magic. It is not an overwhelmingly good card. Whereas just a 4 mana 1 has been format defining.
The reason that Skycrag gets this card is because Skycrag is the 2-faction combination in this set that gets burned, because Time doesn't and Justice both don't get burn spells. Shadow gets burn spells, but Shadow doesn't have a combination with either Fire or Primal in the set, so that's why it's here.
So that kind of makes sense. Oh, except that one, what's it called? Shoot, I've already forgotten the name of the card. We saw it like minutes ago. The Praxis one that's like 3 mana 3 damage and silence.
Oh yeah. That one is like I read that as like the fire is the damage, the silence is the time.
Which still makes sense. I'm just saying that they're not the exclusive owners of burn. Although Mortar can go to the opponent's face, which Purify cannot.
Right.
We're talking about Storm Glider now. It's a 4-cost 2/2 with flying and overwhelm. More of the tribal overwhelm, I guess. And it says pay 5 to give Storm Glider +3 swords this turn.
So this is the first time I think we've seen fire breathing in this game. It's a little inefficient, but
yeah, sure enough. In the cycle with the pay 5 for an effect.
Yep.
Whereas this does,
he's fine.
This lets you attack for 5 in the air on turn 5 and have like overwhelm on the damage.
Yeah,
it's a board breaker too. Like if the longer the game goes, this thing, if you're just top decking nothing, it's like fine, I attack for 8.
Yeah. Ways to spend your mana. It's a little bit expensive, but this thing's all right.
Yeah, all the pay 5s are kind of expensive. I think the most cost-effective one is the card drawing guy.
Mm.
Yeah.
But no, he's good. He's good. Definitely a good guy.
Evasion is good.
So next up is Towering Stranger. It's a 6-cost 7/7
Yep.
in Fire Primal, and says strangers have Overwhelm.
It's Reinhardt, only he has an axe.
This might as well not have text, and I'd play it. Like,
Right?
Yeah.
It's a 6-cost 7/7. How does a single person get to be this large?
Well,
What's the
we have
what is
no-
the
we have
world
no-
of Eternal Card Game? It's like
We have
You
no
can-
evidence this is one person.
no, it is.
No,
but
there's no evidence.
he's all
of that.
alone. But that's the evidence. We're looking at him.
No. Like each leg is like a person.
No.
Oh, I
Then
suppose
how-
the arms
who
are
is the
also a
blind
different person.
Yeah, these are 7 individuals bound together in a costume.
This is one grandpa.
This is what most of the strangers we've seen that are like strangers have keyword have been uncommons. This is the first one we've seen that's a rare, I think.
No.
Have you seen?
There's been a cycle of rares in.
Okay, the first one I've seen that
Okay.
is a rare.
Yeah, we looked at the Aegis one, and that's
The
disgusting.
Aegis one.
That one's very horse crap. The Aegis one, but Aegis is too good. Is what I'm saying. This guy's very powerful though.
This thing's a 7/7 overwhelm. I'll take it.
At 6, yeah.
You pay 7 mana for a 5/6 overwhelm in
No,
primal.
what this does is it adds another powerful hit to unstable form. Unstable form by 5. Oops, he's gigantic. Wow.
Which I am. Now, this guy could totally be a Voltron. Look at his left arm. You see the little
Okay, I'm
horizontal
I'm
stripes?
putting him down. I'm moving on to perhaps my favorite card from the set.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, get this. It's called Knucklebones. It's a 7-cost relic, 1 fire, 1 primal, and says summon, transform each card in your deck into a random card. At the start of your turn, draw an additional card.
Roll them bones.
Yep, you have this is a Hearthstone card.
Yeah, like you start playing a Tavern Brawl.
Yeah,
And you
you start brawling. It's,
For 7 mana, you begin playing a Tavern Brawl.
I think it's 7 because you're gonna get rid of all your power.
Yeah.
That's fair. Although you might, there's no guarantee of
Yeah,
that.
I have definitely drawn sigils off of Nyctotraxion, so
Yeah.
I understand the risks.
I think the real reason this is 7 is so that it won't show up anywhere. They wanted this card to exist, but they didn't want anyone to play it.
I can understand not wanting to be, okay, throw all your cards in the garbage and play random cards to be... They didn't want that to be a winning strategy, necessarily.
Show my game.
Renounced darkness isn't good.
And it is only in your deck, so you can sculpt your hand, and then cast this.
Yeah.
God, I love it.
You can permanently destroy cards in your graveyard by excavating them.
You
and then
cannot
playing
do
the
this in
Knucklebones.
Magic the Gathering, which is what I love about it the most, I think.
Mm.
So we're moving on to Topaz Drake, which is a 7-power, 1 fire, 1 primal influence, 4/3 with flying and charge.
It's expensive, but it will kill your opponent in a game of limited.
Yep.
Yep, that's pretty much it. So, moving on. We have Molot and Nakova, which is a 2-headed dragon, apparently, with some kind of like ghost shit happening. What the hell are they? Is someone down there like shooting fire hoses at the?
I think those are supposed to be geysers, but yes, there are people down there with fire hoses.
Yeah, the fire hoses.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to work out for them. Anyway, it's an 8-cost 8/8 in triple fire, triple primal, with flying and Aegis, and then Spark, deal 4 damage to each enemy. God.
Mm-hmm.
The only concern I have with this card is that I don't think it's going to be easy to spark with this, because the deck that you're playing this in is probably not an aggressive aggro Craig deck. It's probably more of like some sort of control deck, and you need to find a way to deal that damage.
Yeah. At the same time, it is also a very huge, difficult to kill creature.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8/8 flying Aegis.
Yeah, it's like
that's
this thing is very hard to kill, but
Right. I
it's
think
sort of
the big victory here is after your suicide attack to actually get the extra effect, you don't need to do that. Like as an 8/8 flying Aegis for 8, that's fine. You can win games with that alone.
yeah.
Yep.
It just it's going to be hard to this straddles a weird line between like a control finisher and also a tempo mechanic, which is I think what Jens was
Yeah.
saying about it. But at the same time, I still feel okay with this. It's weird. I'm not entirely sure.
It's pretty weird.
Have we finally found the kind of Skycrag deck that would want to play Prodigal Sorcerer?
Ha.
I don't think so. Just because if you're playing Storm Chaser, whatever
Yeah,
it
that's what
is,
it's called.
like Storm
Yeah.
Chaser at all, you probably just want to put Deadly on it, one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the
yeah.
card's not awful in the current meta because it breaks a lot of Aegises. But
Next up is Decimate.
Talk about breaking Aegis.
It's a 10 power, 2 fire, 2 primal influence spell that says deal 10 damage, and also Decimate can't be negated or blocked by Aegis.
Pyroblast, baby!
When I mentioned Heart of the Vault as the first card that I crafted, this was number 2.
Pyroblast, baby! Macham! Something finally gives Channel a run for its money for a crushing giant spell.
Yeah, no kidding. And Channel can be blocked by an Aegis.
Yeah, or
Channel
negated.
Or
negated.
or negated by backlash.
Can't be countered. Now, I'm interested in, if it can't be blocked by Aegis, does it remove the Aegis as well, I wonder?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I think
That
they
would
get
be
to...
even more powerful.
Yeah, that would...
It just crushes them.
Yeah, like it shows the Aegis popping animation, and then they take 10 damage. That's like, bar.
I guess technically you could use this to kill Ikaria as well. Although that seems like...
Ikaria.
No, this kills the second Ikaria that they work right onto with the first.
Oh, definitely.
This is like the opening cutscene from Final Fantasy the 14.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Heck,
like the ending of any Avengers movie.
Was that Doctor Strange in the
That's-
art here?
That's Doctor Strange, and there's a big blue light going into the sky.
Space laser.
Mm.
Okay, well, you two can fire a space laser. Okay. We're wrapping up with our Xenon cards. It's the Time Shadow faction. I'm going to start off with Blistering Wasp. It's a 2-cost 1/3 Flying Deadly.
Thing's rather good.
Wow. I don't have words other than wow for this card.
Stuff aggro.
God.
I've run into this card in the Life Force decks already as like a way to stuff aggro, and it's rather strong. It wasn't very good against me because I was playing Chalice and I don't have creatures that attack. But if you are facing a deck with creatures that attack, Blistering Wasp will get in the way.
I didn't think we'd see a bee that was on par with Scorpion Wasp or whatever. But
Yeah, well, there you have it. I have nothing more to add to that. That's just really solid. Okay, next up is Blood Call Invocation. Which is a 2-cost spell, 1 time, 1 shadow. That says, Life Force, play a Restless Radiant with Sword Heart equal to the heart you gained this turn.
This is a funky spell.
That's... So you have to gain the life and then play this spell, and then you get 1 guy.
like, I guess the method here is like you have some early life stealers attack for 4 or 5, and then just play a pair of these on turn 4 and just go, hey, like.
This reminds me
Yeah.
of a spell from Khans of Tarkir, which was also an invocation.
The one that made
Kin Tree invocation.
toughness.
It made a guy the size of the largest toughness of a guy you control.
This is so awkward. I never want to play this card. I guess,
Same.
yes, if okay, you gain like 10 life in a turn, you can make a 10/10 for 2 power, but like you're spending a lot of power to gain all that life. Unless it is like a team lifesteal attack, and then I get another big guy, but
I think there are just better payoffs for the life force, but
yeah.
you couldn't possibly make use of this.
Well, next up is Ion the Abductor. It's a 3-cost 3/3 in 1 time to Shadow, who says lifesteal, ambush, and ultimate pay 9 to silence a unit in your void, then play it with +3/+3.
I only have one problem with this card, and that is that Ion is the abductor who cannot steal from your opponent's void.
There is
Like,
that.
You are abducting from your own.
This is
void.
another thing that's just a bunch of stuff. It's like,
Yeah,
I have lifesteal. Okay, I work with that theme. But also ambush. Yes, I can sneaky. And then reanimate, but just the body, but it's a bigger body. Like,
I don't know.
All that said, this card's really strong.
it is strong because it has a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's just that the stuff doesn't work together, really.
It's just being a 3-cost 3/3 lifesteal ambush is basically why you're playing this card.
It's much like Bartholo in that the first 2 keywords actually like have some sort of theme to it. You know, unblockable
Right,
ages.
and then it has
threat.
this ultimate ability that's just sort of out of left field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there you have it. Next up is Shadowlands Bone Picker, a 3-cost 3/3 dinosaur at uncommon, 1 time 1 shadow. And it's the last one in the cycle. Pay 5 to give Shadowlands Bone Picker +2/+1.
I guess the 2/+1 is represented by a dog. Wait, is that the warp dog?
That's a warp dog. It's got to be
The
warp
warp
dog.
hound.
Oh no, warp dog.
I
No,
guess. Don't
he got,
show this
he
card
got
to
eaten
Rosella.
by a dinosaur. This is so much worse than the evasive guy
Yeah,
from
he gets
Agrocrag.
He gets to keep his pump. Like I guess.
Oh, whoa, okay, that's not this
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
Oops.
This guy's an inevitability,
Oops.
but
Missed that.
it's also a 3-mana 3/3.
Okay, I mean, it's a 3-mana 3/3, so clearly I like it. And then he becomes bigger, so that's great. There you go.
Perfect.
So then there's Vara's Choice. It's a 3-cost spell, 1 time 1 shadow. And the choice is silence an enemy unit and put it into its owner's hand. Or silence a unit in the enemy player's hand, they discard it.
The first choice on this is not super great because it's a slow spell. It's a sorcery speed thing. And one of the better good things about bounce is they're usually instant speed. But I still haven't decided what I think about this card.
Well, I like it as a way to fight Steelfang Chakram, or anything that's like it. But really, the only thing that's like Steelfang Chakram is it.
Yeah.
So it like gets rid of the weapon and makes the unit kind of trash, which is fine because you have this other mode where you know if you're behind on board, you can spend this card to get even or ahead on board, and if you're like even or ahead on board, you can spend this card to take a card from them.
Yeah, I suppose. I kind of wish it's.
This does not answer Sandstorm Titan.
It's a little expensive for its.
This could possibly make them discard Sandstorm Titan, I guess, but
yeah,
you know, having
I'd
a
be pretty
4-cost
happy-
5/6 with no text is still fine.
I'd be pretty happy bouncing Umbran Reaper or something like that with it, where it's just like, you know, now you have to replay your 5-drop and also it's garbage.
I think that's the real thing, is that silence is just like a good effect, and it might just be worth playing for.
I think that's it. Like,
Yeah.
text on cards is good, and being able to get rid of text on cards is also good.
Also, the back half, the information gained from the back half is very nice. Like, how many units are in hand.
I kind of like the back half better than the front half, just because I like discard effects.
Well, sure, and that's the mode where you're even on cards, where otherwise you're essentially going down on cards.
Unless you whiff, because you can
Well,
whiff and gain no information from this game.
I had a game earlier today with the Time Weaver, the thing that casts slow, and like my opponent had 5 cards in hand, 6 power, and I whiffed. And I felt so bad because it's like, oh, your hand is 5 sigils. Oh no. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
unrelatedly.
So next up is Banish, which is a 4-cost fast spell that says kill an enemy unit or relic with cost 4 or less.
So you're always getting cost or less out of this card, like 4 in, 4 out.
Where like something like Vanquish is, you're almost always getting like better than cost.
But having a card that kills both units and relics in it is a lot of versatility.
It can kill Xenon Obelisk.
Let's not beat around the bush on this. This kills Obelisk and Chalice. You're playing it, right?
This kills Obelisk,
Chalice, Sandstorm Titan. Okay.
Auric Runehammer. Like, this kills a lot of things. Most of the cards that get played are 4-cost or less, as it turns out.
Yeah, no, the illustration in this card is truly baffling.
I kind of like it. It feels like it's abstract in a way I enjoy.
Like the person has been banished to the desert,
or they're looking at something that's been banished. Who knows? I like it.
They're staring at the sun, and this is what you get. You stared at the sun, you idiot.
I think even drew some depth of field in this image. I don't hate the art.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of. It's like a tier above anything that's purely representational, and a tier below something that's more tellingly abstract.
Well, we're not going to get any art in any card game ever again that's like Stasis.
That's sad, I
wish we
think.
would.
Yeah, we're the poorer for it.
We are.
The next up we have Katra the Devoted, a 4-cost 3/3 and double time, double shadow. With Life Force, when you gain heart, your units get +1/+1 permanently.
This is a good Life Force payoff if you have.
Yeah, this almost justifies the existence of the 1-cost 1/2 Empower Gain a Life guy, because if it's Empower Gain a Life and I'm a 2/3 now.
This is weird because it's a card that wants you to, like, it's weird how some of the Life Force cards don't mind you gaining life all at once, and then you have some that want you to gain 1 life as many times as possible, like this card.
It's kind of like Warp in that way, where altogether you can't just slam every single Life Force card in a deck and expect to have a deck out of it. You have to like pick and choose which things you're doing.
This one is more of the life steal Life Force, because you keep pumping up these units that are building into themselves, whereas like something like Blood Call is, I want to gain as much life at once.
No, like seeing this makes me really happy to play that one Fire Titan thing. It's like,
players can't gain life. Yeah. Can I ask you guys to do a small piece of mental exercise with this art though?
Mm-hmm.
Put an Avacyn symbol in the background.
Oh no!
Oh god! Let's say.
And we got vampires, kids. Anyways, that's
dear.
Let's escape.
So next up is Xenon Augury, which is a 4-cost plain old spell in 1/1 shadow that says draw 1 of the top 3 cards of your deck, put the rest on the bottom. You gain 3 hearts.
This is a dirtle spell if I ever saw one.
So it's like worse than Scheme. And
this is it's like Shield Bash.
This is a dirtly spell if you really want to gain life and like card select, I guess. I've seen this card in Clockroach.
Oh, goodness.
Wow.
Just looking for their Clockroach.
I need to get to the Revenged Clockroach. The Toktuk, I need it. That's kind of baffling. I do like the idea that there's more ways to like draw through your deck, more search.
Yeah.
Because of the 75 card deck limit, like we don't have enough of that yet. We don't have consistent decks. It's terrible, and no one's willing to talk about it. They're like, no, you just play this, and usually you win or not or whatever. There's so much variability to just the.
To go back to something we talked about earlier, there was that Doran, the relic that's like, your unit comes in and its health or its sword and heart becomes the higher the 2.
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to build the deck around that card because there's only 4 of them in your 75, so you can't actually depend on seeing it.
Right, and in the meantime, you're playing, what, Shield Man?
Yeah.
Or you're just playing an 07, and like, well,
Oops.
I can block, but you still get your War Cry.
I mean, realistically, you would want to be playing Lumen Defender or some other cards that you would want to be playing in the meantime anyway, but... Xenon Augury. Next up is Xenon Cupbearer. Oh! So,
The Cupbearer.
Yeah, no, he's given the cup to Catra. There you go.
I'm firing this Cupbearer. Look at that. Look at that form. Look at how much blood is being spilled by that cup.
That is not blood. That is unsolidified cherry jello.
That's still very poor form, regardless of what is in the cup.
Well,
This isn't blood! Throw it away!
He's been surprised. But anyway.
No, look at his hand. He's got the sun in his eyes.
He's a 4-cost 2/4 with lifesteal. That's very boring.
Look, what I'm saying
baseline
is
functional.
If Zappelli saw you drop the cup, you were done, right? Like, that's how it works.
Play this in limited for your limited life force deck. That's it.
Next up is Blood Call Invoker, another of the cards that we got a preview of. He's a 5-cost 3/5, 1 1 shadow, and uncommon. And life force. At the end of your turn, play a Restless Radiant with Sword Heart equal to the heart you gained this turn.
Its card is weird. If you hover over it, it doesn't show you the token it makes.
Yeah. There are a couple of cards that have been like that. Like, Huzi didn't show us the Iron Sword.
Oh, the Iron Sword.
Yeah, Nuktat Man didn't show the Iron Sword. The other
something didn't show the hat, the spiked helm.
The other call, Blood Call Invocation, that didn't show us the Restless Radiant either.
Yeah, this guy casts Blood Call Invocation.
Yeah, every turn.
Every turn.
I guess that's nice.
I think if you're doing the Blood Call Invocation level of like, that's what you're focusing for, you probably want this rather than the one shot.
Yeah.
That said, when I was playing in the event, I ran up against decks that were doing this, and Blood Call Invoker was consistently the weakest and worst card in their deck.
Agreed, 100%.
It's weird. They had to. The Xenon decks kind of had to either play the good Xenon deck and just accept they have 3/5s that don't do anything, or try to make it work. And they still went okay, but it felt poor compared to the blue-green one.
Yeah, like everyone just jammed Xenon Killers and had done with it. So next up is Mask of Torment, a 5-cost relic at Time Shadow, +1 maximum power. Life Force, when you gain heart, +1 maximum power. And Ultimate, pay 25 to play the Tormentor. It was a card that another card makes. A Tormentor, it is worth saying, is a 10-mana 8/8 with Flying Overwhelm charge. At the start of your turn, if the Tormentor is in your void, play a 1/1 Spiteling. The Spitelings are 1/1s that deal 1 damage to the opponent when they die.
Yeah, you get this card. I don't quite know what to think of this card yet. I've seen the Life Force decks routinely go to like 35, even when you're attacking them, which is compelling, I guess. But
it is whenever you gain heart +1 maximum power, not whenever you gain heart that much power.
So you want to be gaining 1 life as much as possible.
Yeah,
pretty much. And it even, like, the thing that I like about this is it doesn't do absolutely nothing on its own. It does have the built-in, like, ramp aspect to it, which some decks could just use on its own, right? Like, presumably, if you could pay more power to draw extra cards, and those cards gained you life, then you could form this, like, circle, and then you'd have an engine on your hands. As it stands, I don't think we really have that. There's really a missing piece to this that's a way to just plain spend power and draw cards.
Right. We have multiple cards like this actually specifically in Azendel as well as this like endless power gain, but to what end? That continues to be the question.
Right. The beautiful part of this is, and then what? I gain all this power and then what? Whereas it does have its own built-in. If you actually get to 25, then yes, you have a payout. But geez, you should be able to do something before then.
Just give this game like a stream of life, where it's like, okay, in the meantime, I'm just going to spend all my extra power to gain 16 life, which will give me +1 extra power. It works all together.
I guess again, like having 2 Masks of Torment kind of helps you go faster.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you have 2 of them, then
That's kind of cool.
It onto itself.
Mm.
Yes, I guess you could splash fire for Fireball, the fire surge.
I am more interested in playing. What is that stupid card?
Copper Conduit.
No. Duct tape and dynamite.
Yeah.
Ooh, means to an end.
Means to an end. I am much more interested in playing Means to an End than I am in playing Mask of Torment. Even though Mask of Torment is probably the better card. Next up we have Champion of Mystery, a 6-cost 7/7 with a badass hat.
I'm sorry, 6-cost 7/7.
Yes.
6-cost 7. Yeah, another one of them.
One time, one shadow. At the 6-time threshold, it says, when Champion of Mystery hits the enemy player, draw a card. And at the 6 shadow threshold, he says unblockable.
So one of these abilities is completely irrelevant and you don't care about, and the other one says unblockable. Oh my god.
I don't know. I wouldn't hate if my 6-mana 7/7 was also an Ophidian. Especially if it was unblockable.
Yeah, but I wouldn't care, though, because my opponent's dead in 3 hits, like...
That's true enough. But, all the same, I don't know what deck wants this card.
Shadow, I would honestly, wonder if you play heavy Shadow with light time, and then it's just someone unblockable.
It's just
It's
weird.
okay, if you want an unblockable 7/7, Night Howl exists, right?
Yeah, but it's like...
That's also a legend. But...
A lot of the really powerful white cards you want to be playing are double white. It's like it's hard to just splash time.
Well, how about splash time and use Find the Way and Amber Acolyte to just get all the shadow in the world? I don't know.
Even then, hitting 6 shadow influence is hard. I don't know. This guy is really powerful, but I don't know what deck wants it.
This guy is just fine. I think decks that want 6-cost creatures want it.
That's fair. Just being a 6-cost 7/7.
Yeah, this is playing as a 6-cost 7/7.
Next up is Prophetic Stranger. It's a 7-cost 3/3 and 1 time 1 shadow. It says strangers have +3/+3, which, okay, it's a 6/6. I get that, but okay, if the first faction that can pump your whole team is time, and it is, what would be the second one? In the abstract, in your minds, what would...
Justice? Because Justice can do everything?
Justice can do a little bit of everything. Red gets... Well, Fire gets temporary team power.
Or attack, rather, sorry.
We've seen Shadow get the power pump, but we've also seen there was a stranger in the first set in Justice Time that was Empower +1/+1 your team.
Right.
Yeah.
I would definitely put it in Combre if it was just that. I think this is really weird in Time Shadow.
It is rather weird. I do like one thing about this card, though. Some people have likened to calling strangers clowns.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first one I've seen that could conceivably be one. This person looks a little bit like a death jester or something.
Yeah.
I think he's going to rile up all the werewolves.
Oh, dear.
It's not bad. I can tell your future, and your future is that you're not playing Prophetic Stranger.
Yeah.
It's 7 costs too expensive for strangers.
And next up we have World Joiner, a 9-cost 8/8 Radiant that says when World Joiner attacks, each enemy unit gets -1/-1, and she gets that much attack heart. Good gravy.
This is the first of this cycle in this set that I'm just kind of disappointed at. Casting Plague is my end game goal for my 9-costing unit with triple influence, and only when I attack the next turn after.
That's true. It doesn't protect itself at all. It doesn't do anything when you play it.
I guess they didn't want to just straight make Elesh Norn.
Right? Like,
I guess you are getting something very similar to Elesh Norn.
If they even have 3 units, it's attacking as an 11/11 though.
Yeah,
it's
That's
true.
crazy.
This is huge.
it does scale very well. Which is like crunch. I don't know. I don't hate this card. I don't like it either.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see any of it.
You're gonna see it if this is the only legend that the Xenon player you've run
Yeah.
into has opened.
I would definitely play this if I opened it. Or
Yeah.
I would definitely unstable form into this and immediately attack.
Yeah.
That's the best way to play this. I
Yep.
feel.
Yeah, play it on that. So, what are even one of the better 9 costs, I guess.
Okay. So now we're into the factionless cards.
Not a lot here.
Yeah,
but
there's only
some
really
important-
4 to talk about because 5 of them are the missing strangers.
Mm-hmm. Just gonna quickly look at them. I'll check to see if any of them has good art. Horror Stranger is just a big guy punching some guy in the face and taking his coins.
Yeah.
Yep. With the owl cape.
Even
He's-
Stranger is
he's
just
a-
a guy with a lamp.
Fantasy Owl Man.
Praxis Stranger is like doing some Full Metal Alchemist stuff.
Yeah, casting. He's doing
Yeah.
some sort of walking stick.
Yeah, well, he looks kind of like who's he? Magician's Red.
Ooh,
Mm,
Abdul.
Abdul.
Abdul. I guess Skycrag Stranger has a good coat. I like his
It's just-
jacket.
He's the most bored of all these guys.
He has 2 arrows left.
Poor guy.
I'm so sorry.
Been firing arrows all day.
And Xenon Stranger is from Bloodborne.
Yeah, he's a chapel.
That's one of the
guy.
one of the Chapel Pthumru lamp bearers. It's kind of funny. Oh, I guess Veteran Mercenary counts as coming from set 2.
It's
Oh,
a
interesting.
promo card.
Yeah, we've seen him all up, down, and sideways, and I'm not ready to talk about him. But we finally we end up on Spirit. Wait, did I miss one? I think I did.
Reunite.
Reunite. Sorry, which is a 2-cost factionless spell that says draw a stranger of your choice from your deck.
Demonic Tutor for a Stranger. This card is actually real as hell.
So the Aegis one, right? Like that's,
Yeah, like you draw your Fortunate or Aegis Stranger when you need it. Like, pick the keyword you're missing. This thing is rather good. Why do they
Wait.
call strangers clowns? None of these guys look like clowns. You've seen one stranger
Wait a
that looks
minute.
like a clown.
Guys, I think I figured something out.
Yeah.
Oh.
They all have a like this guy. They all have a little slash over one eye.
That's the mark of the stranger.
Oh.
I don't know if that's a new thing.
I'll search for
they-
all known strangers.
Like, it's pretty consistent in this set. I never noticed that until looking at Reunite.
Huh.
They nope, they all seem to have some purple shit on their face.
Okay, well, there you go.
The mark of the stranger.
Guess Veteran Mercenary is not a stranger. Okay, well, that's a real card. This is not a real card. Spirit of Resistance. It's a 12-cost 10/10 mob, apparently. Summon, kill all other units and attachments, and Spirit of Resistance can't leave the void.
I kind of like this card a lot.
Just, they finally put Deathwing in their game.
Right. It's Wrath on a Body.
And it's kind of like a what's the word?
It even kills attachments.
All this dust on a giant guy.
Like, it actually gets rid of, like you kill their board and then they can't just, like, play 2 creatures that are 5/5s. No, your Chalice and Obelisk are gone. Dumb. Get out of here.
I don't know what to think about this card yet, because hitting 12 is reasonable in certain decks.
I don't think hitting 12 is reasonable. I don't think this is castable in any sense. I don't expect to ever see it.
I kind of want to, like, how about in this? We have, like, a Combre deck I realize that then just begs the question of, is it better than Vodkin? But combo deck that's just infinite wraths. Like ramp pieces, harsh rule, leave a witness, spirit of resistance.
I would consider playing this as like a 2 of in Chalice. Because Chalice regularly hits like 16 mana.
Be careful, it blows up your own chalices.
At that point, you've already got all the work out of it.
You don't want to play this with Mask of Torment because it blows up your own Mask of Torment. You don't want to play with... if you're ramping, you actually need to do sigil ramp. That's actually maybe the biggest problem with it. Like you have to actually get to sigils with
once this thing's in play, like, do you need to ramp anymore? Plus, like, I mean, they can't annihilate it. I guess they can death strike it, but at that point,
I think any time, I don't know. I don't like this card. I think 12 is way too much. I appreciate the
ultimatum.
I feel that, yeah.
It's huge.
And they even put the "you can't reanimate this" clause on it. Just said, yeah, okay,
it's
fine.
Because Reanimator is already kind of an annoying deck, but not for this kind of thing. Reanimator is annoying because of your Reanimator actually reanimate 2 cards.
I am 100% blinded by the effect and not the top left corner. I admit this.
Yeah, and I'm blinded by the top left corner and can't read the rest of the card.
and I'm blinded because I play long game control decks too much. So it's like, 12 mana, no problem. I mean, I get 3 owls all the time.
Well, there you have it. That's set 2.
It's through.
Good gravy. There's too many cards.
That's good though. This game has needed more cards, like a heart attack, the opposite of a heart attack, heart surgery. This game has needed more cards, like a heart surgery.
Please insert 250 cards into my body.
Yeah, because it's been very stagnant for a long time.
Maybe, could they release him like a little bit at a time or something? I don't know. Like
they
smaller,
have been doing
more
that?
Sets.
Yeah.
Like enough to justify a set review, but not so many that I can't finish that set review.
Yeah.
There's too many cards, I guess, and it's inconvenient to us, I guess.
It's definitely inconvenient to me in particular.
Well, it's crazy because like they'd been doing spoilers, for a little while, and then the set came out, and I think we had a fifth of the set known or something like that, like maybe a little more than that. It was just like, oh yeah, all these spoilers, and oh yeah, by the way, the other 180 cards you just don't know. Here's the set, and it's like, what?
I'm happy that the card pool is expanded so much, just because the game needed a shot in the arm like that. I would appreciate if there were like a regular schedule of smaller amount of cards from here on out.
Yeah, I would like that a lot more.
The game did need a bigger, because like, how many constructed decks were there that were top tier before this? 4? Maybe there'll be more now.
You've done it though, Kaz. You're through.
I did, and I am. Yeah, I really think that the Tribal Overwhelm deck wants to be Praxis.
Tribal Overwhelm.
Yeah. I don't know, though. Because Cerso is really good.
Cerso is really good. What is the Shepherd's Helm? Is the card? Yeah, that's the Tribal Overwhelm card.
Yeah, Shepherd's Horn. Just thinking about Tribal Overwhelm.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I'm...
You know what's weird? I think it makes Smith's Hammer cost 1. Because it's a card with Overwhelm.
Does it make Obliterate cheaper? Ooh.
Oh my god.
It just says your cards with Overwhelm cost 1 less.
Wait, would it make them... If you had Stone Scar Maul equipped, would it make all of your damage spells cheaper?
Ooh.
What? Wait a minute.
Ooh.
Because I'm thinking the answer to all those questions is yes.
Well, will Towering Stranger make all of your strangers cost 1 in play, or just in deck?
Goodness. All right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave it off there. I don't think I'm actually gonna make the Tribal Overwhelm deck. I don't know what I'm gonna make. I want to make the Storm Why? Okay, you don't know why I have 10 Crown Watch Cavalry. Okay, okay. I'll tell you. I'll let you know. Right here. Card Zone 10. 10 Crown Watch Cavalry. It's because I have not dusted them. But I have opened a lot of packs. That's the reason. Now, as to the reason why I have not dusted any cards, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Like, just wait at X.
I don't know. I love seeing this number go up. I can't tell you what it is.
Different compulsions.
There's this. I don't. It's so final.
Huge numbers.
The most important part of that is I don't feel like I need to make anything. I'm not compelled enough to do it.
Yeah,
So-
like,
Agreed.
I'm gonna be playing my old decks for a while until it becomes untenable to do so,
Yeah.
and then I'll go craft something else.
Oh yeah. I guess I have 22 packs, including 2 Empty Throne and 20 Omens of the past.
Mm.
I will say one thing.
Hmm.
I think the limited format has become more fun.
Ooh, well, I'll have to do that at some point. I have a draft in the pocket where I'm going to pick Megatron, even though
Yeah,
it's
Megatron.
horrible. That's
Oh,
just
right.
so
Because-
bad.
My problem with the old draft is I was basically forced into